Lumb boosting is one of the most interesting mechanics of Rayman 2 speedruns. Not only is it very cool and flashy to perform, it also has a lot of depth to it, and even after years of speedrunning this game, I'm still learning and understanding more how it works and how to do it faster. So today, I want to share with you the knowledge I have right now. It might not be complete, it might not be perfect, but I thought it would be a good start for you to understand these traits, no matter if you want to run the game or if you just enjoy watching Rayman speedruns. But if you actually want to learn this speedrun, I just have one disclaimer. To get good at lumb boosting, watching this video won't be enough. You will need just one more thing: practice. That's how you will experiment, get used to the mechanics and to your own timings. Now, that being said, let's get to it! So, what's a lumb boost exactly? In Rayman 2, pressing jump while grabbing a purple lumb launches Rayman in the opposite direction of the lumb. It's this height and horizontal speed that we call lumb boost. Most of the time, we use it to chain multiple boosts to reach unintended places or faster than intended. And to do that, here are the two basic things. First, the camera manipulation. If the purple lumb stays on screen, the shots won't aim or connect as soon as you are too high or too far from it, which depends on the lumb but often happens after just a few boosts. But for some lumps, if they are off camera, you can keep shooting at them even if you're far away until Rayman's shot despawn before hitting the lump. So most of the time the strategy is to keep the lump below the screen and keep going forward and upward. However, Rayman needs to face the purple lump to target it, so he can keep shooting at it and connect to it. You can't connect to a purple lump if you're not facing it. That's why in most cases we use strafe to keep targeting the lump while moving away from it. The issue is that strafing will also turn the camera to face the lump while we want to keep it off screen. So we want to break the camera, and that can be done in two ways. The most common way is to turn around the first swing, press strafe, then immediately hover, which for some reason will cancel the camera turn. When you trigger hover, you can press jump and shoot at the same time to set up your first lump boost. Another way that can be easier in some situations is to do one extra swing, holding strafe and camera left or right and the opposite direction to turn it during the first boost, that you can still do while having the lump on screen. For the rest of the lump boost, you have to prevent the camera from turning around while still hovering, strafing and holding forward. That's why having camera left and right on shoulders buttons can be handy, but it's not mandatory. Now the jump timing. The goal is to go on the opposite way of the lump and upward, and grabbing the lump will quickly drag you toward the lump and downward. That's why, ideally, we want to press jump right after grabbing the lump. If done too early, you will not jump at all, you just press jump mid-air, then connect, so that's usually a fail. And if you press it too late, as I said, you will lose height and distance for every frame you spend connected to the rope, so if the skip you want to do is lenient, you can potentially save it, but it depends on the situation. So fortunately, even though you want to press jump at the same frame you connect to the lump, lump boosting is not a frame-perfect timing that you have to perform every time, but rather a feeling that you need to get to know if your boosts are good enough for the skip and if you can adapt to save it or if you need to try again. Here is an example to better see what I mean. Okay, that was very close. I needed a perfect lump boost for the second one. First one was very bad, so I needed a perfect second one. Indeed, as you can see, the first boost was 7 frames too late, So I made the quick decision to go for a boost as early as I could for the second one, which would have resulted in either too early, which at least is not a death, or a perfect boost, which could barely make it over the lava collision. And as you can see, I got one frame too late and it still made it.
Okay.
Now that we have seen the basics, how do you actually do a full lump boost skip? After a full swing on the purple lump, you jump and shoot at the lump. Then you jump as soon as the shot connects and repeat. A good timing, at least for the first boost, is to shoot immediately after jumping. I like to call it a boost shoot timing. On a controller, you can find your own way to do it, like rolling your thumb. What I usually like to do is either rubbing my thumb like this, or even going on another grip like this in some situations. You can also map your inputs to be able to keep one finger for jump and one for shoot. Another way of doing it is to hover and shoot at the same time for every boost. I like to call it a hover shoot timing. It can be more precise, but it's a bit slower and you will lose some height during the hover compared to a good jump and shoot timing. It might not seem like a lot of height, but for the first 3 or 4 boosts, you really want to get as much height as you can. Here is an illustration to better understand why. As I said, a lump boost will send you on the opposite way of the lump. What it means exactly is that if you are rather above the lump, you will rather get height from the boost, and if you are rather at the same height as the lump, you will mostly get distance from it, like a horizontal boost. Let's see some comparisons to better visualize it. First, without holding any direction, this is the difference between the boost shoot and the hover shoot timings. You can see that the hover shoot timing will struggle to get any height and is overall slower. Now, let's take a look at how important the moment you release the first purple lump swing is. In this first example, I do a full swing and I even hold right at the end to be even more above the lump. You can see I'm getting more height than if I just do a full purple lump swing. And here is what happens if you release the first purple lump too early. As you can see, I can barely get any height because I'm not above the lump. Now, this is another example of boost shoot versus hover shoot, and as you can see, they both lose height at some point, but boost shoot is faster. But what if we start adding some hovers after 3 or 4 boosts with the boost shoot method? Now that's more like it. We get height and we are able to keep it while waiting for the shot to connect. So that's how we are able to do some huge lump boost like this. You can see the comparison against the hover shoot timing. The issue with hovering is that it cuts your momentum. Indeed, the horizontal speed you get from a lump boost, which seems to be the greater the further you are from the lump, will be kept as long as you keep the same direction in the air, but hovering will immediately bring you back to your basic hover speed, which is very slow. Last but not least, when you get further from the lump, you can add some double shots like this, or even triple shots. This can help to reduce hovers and to get a consistent rhythm for the boosts. Alright, now you hopefully understand better the beautiful complexity of lump boost and why practice is crucial to get all those inputs and timings down. However, there is still one small issue. What I just explained is the regular way lump boosts work, but actually every skip using lump boost is different, mainly for 3 reasons. First, each lump gives you a different rope size, which means that you don't start lump boosting at the same distance from the lump, and therefore you need to adapt your timing to it. Then the actual goal of the lumb boost. Do you rather want to get height or distance with it? There are some extreme examples for this, but usually it's someone in between. And finally, everything that's around you can affect the lumb boost, like walls, ceiling, enemies, other populums, so you will have to be aware of all of this. For all these reasons, I will now try to explain most of the lumb boosts we use in speedruns. Branch skip is the lumb boost I would recommend to start with, because it's probably the easiest. To make it to the branch, you want to get both height and distance, but only one boost is enough. You start above the lumb, so no need to turn around midair. You start holding strafe before jumping, jump and hold down left to go in the right direction while aiming at the lumb. Then time your shot and boost correctly depending on if you want to hover or not. Getting to the correct position to lumb boost can be tricky, but holding down left until the camera turns should help. Just make sure to aim on the right of the lumb before jumping. There are other ways to do this trick, including one branch skip, because we skip the branch, but I don't recommend them because they are barely faster and require multiple boosts. Also, Rayman will quickly stop aiming at the lumb even if it's off camera, which is very annoying. Now precipice skip. In this skip, we only want height, so we don't have to care about camera. After the swing, turn around and don't strafe, just chain quick boost like this. Make sure to do a full swing and press down to go more above the lumb to get even more height. When you are near the top of the wall, you can start using hover and camera left or right to make sure to keep the camera in front of Rayman. I like to use it with a double shot rhythm like this. Pressing down also prevents you from being too close to the wall, because otherwise this wall can cut the grab before you do, ending up in a hover if you press jump right after. Also, if you're too slow, the boat can punish you, but fortunately most of the time you can quickly try again, unless you get sniped under the lumb. Fouch lumb boost looks like a simple classic lumb boost where you want both height and distance to make it over the lava collision, but it's actually very precise to get enough height. What's more, the skip saves only roughly 5 seconds, so you have to be fast to make it worth it. So you want to do the quick turnaround and break the camera, then chain 2 or 3 boosts using the rhythm you prefer, but I recommend to use hover at some point to make sure to not lose height. Delaying the first lumb grab like this can help to get extra height. Now, maybe the most complicated, but probably not the hardest skip. We mostly want distance with it, not only because the place we want to go is below the purple lumb, but also because if you're too high, you won't aim at the lumb anymore. Consistently aiming at it actually requires quite a precise angle, because if you're not facing exactly this lumb, Rayman can also aim at other purple lumps. With experience, you can see where you want to aim and if your shot goes in the wrong direction. That's why using one extra swing to set up your angle can be easier. The way I like to do it is to line up with the lumb on the right, hold strafe, then after releasing the lumb, hold right and camera right. Even if you don't want too much height, try to get as much as you can for the first 3 boosts, then adapt for the rest of the skip depending on the height you actually get. Again, finding a comfortable timing between shoot, jump, hover and double shots is key for the rest of the skip. There is an alternative to this skip called disco skip. It's kinda similar to precipice skip for how to do it, like don't use strafe, don't touch the joystick and chain as many boosts as you can before you're out of your shot's range. It's slower and definitely not easier, but at least you don't have to do the very precise jump that you would have to do otherwise for just the skip. Now that sums up all the big skips we use in any %, There are just a few boosts we can use to get speed, like for axle skip, for this backup in rock and lava. To finish this video, I just want to quickly talk about 3 more lump boosts that are used in Cave of Bad Dreams, for example in No Major Glitch or 100%. So first, the pillar skip or the swag boost. It's quite tricky because you really only need horizontal boost, and even you want to lose height, otherwise you will hit the walls or ceiling. Also, it seems that if you grab the purple lump from too low, the camera turns in a weird way and Rayman won't aim at the lump anymore. Now, the early yellow orb skip. This is actually an easy lump boost if you do it like this. You can even skip hovering and ledge grabbing. So just keep the lump off camera, don't touch the joystick or strafe, and as you can see it's very lenient with hover and ledge grab in the end. The only annoying thing is that the rope is very small, so you have to be fast. And let's finish with one of the hardest lump boosts, combining pretty much everything we've seen so far. Here we mostly want distance, but height is also important because the platform is actually higher than the purple lump, and if you are too low, you will often get hit by the flames. Also, hovering is not really slow because you have to wait for Jano anyway. Indeed, if you are too fast, he might get a bit confused. You also need a good line to prevent Rayman from targeting Jano, which happens if you are too much on the left or too much on the right. So try to aim straight at Jano or slightly to its left. Afterward it's easy, you just have to apply everything I talked about in this video and you will make it. And that's it for this tutorial. Now, as I said multiple times, there is no secret to get good at lump boosting. To be able to use all this knowledge, it's your time to work, to test things and practice. So, good luck, have fun, and thank you for watching!